Hey, my beautiful babies. This one right here is just going to be a topic of me just speaking. I'm going to try to keep it short. But you got to understand that God uses natural disasters to deliver his people. If you're not aware of the signs and the seasons, we're not talking about trying to say that people are, he's touching people and healing them and making them walk. That is not what he wanted for us to see and understand about his power. He said, you know what? You became such an adulteress, such a hatred heart that I can no longer see you with the sacrifice of the lamb that you bring before the altar, because even that blood doesn't cover up your sins. You chose to sit amongst who you not chose to sit, you chose to be part of who I have tried to separate you from, their evil hearts. He said, I don't want no whitewashed tombs. I want your hearts. And when George Floyd died, that was his last calling to telling his people, I'm coming to deliver you, just like he told Moses. He brought 10 plagues before he came. We don't never know the time. We always speak of its coming because we speak of it blindly. But we're not determining it off what is the seasons that's revealing itself. And the reason why I say that, you got to understand, it all boils down. One, you're always hearing me talking about the sovereignty of the nation. We talk about how the French colonists, the French and the English settlers, how they came and they inhabited all the 7 continents. These are the 7 continents that God split up and gave each of them their separate tongues, because when we come together, we do stupid. We do stupid. I never seen the Tower of Babylon that was built up, but I seen the city of the structures, and I have to make sure that it's facts. But let's go on. Let me not get lost. Let me go on for what I know about these 7 continents that I know is sitting right there in our ocean water. We have a spirit that couldn't settle in these other continents. They tried to overcome countries, but they couldn't overcome the continent. Okay, I'm going to use certain ones, but I'm going to use one that's maybe people are familiarized and may not. Is in the Congos, because what King Leopold did for his years that he reigned to exhaust minerals, rubber from there that he was exporting out. We have the America, okay? But I just want to give you that idea. But every continent that these English settlers settled on, nobody fed into their ideology, their concept, okay? Because they seen their evil. You got to remember, Christopher Columbus, when he landed on the island region of Jamaica, that region, I'll get the city right, but I don't really care if you want to hold me politically, but it was in that region. He stole and kidnapped people then, okay? God, oh man, Jesus. Okay, so now this idle spirit is trying to rest, to alter what God had initially had in our hearts to do, to respect one another, accept who we are, in our differences, in our colors. Those people traveled all over the nations, seeing the different nationalities that were split up, that God split up. I only can go off of what I've learned in the Bible, but I'm going to speed it up to what I can say I can support facts for, okay? Now we're here. We're in a country, in America, that Native Americans showed unconditional love. Look at 1 Corinthians 13, okay, 1 through 13. Out of all the continents that I've seen, they were the only ones who said, okay, if you come here, We're going to show you how to respect this land. And everybody, everybody can benefit from this land. It's enough for everyone. But we do have sovereign nations, and he shared that all with them. There wasn't listen, America was not a lawless continent, okay? They're no different from Asia, and all the rest of the 7 continents that it sits out there in that ocean, okay? But these English settlers finally found rest for that evil spirit to set in. They walked around, spoke the good talk, but they never had good intentions. Look at their history. Look where they traveled from and went into. Come on, babies. And I just want to say that because I always describe us as scribes and Pharisees. They always came to Jesus and tested him and about the laws that he stood on. But he always said something that came to my mind. And he always said, but in the beginning, it wasn't that. In the beginning, there was no divorce. In the beginning, what you're trying to stone this woman for, baby? I think you better recheck yourself. And he didn't say that like, dude, like, come on, you guys. I think he really just sat there and said, I'm gonna tell you something. Okay, I did something because I see a lot of people do this when the police come, and I'm saying they're gonna try to take matters in their own hand, while the person who's there to enforce this, you're going to go in and assault that person in front of the police officer? Oh, yeah, I think you're going to get your butt whooped, slammed, beat down to the ground, liable, probably shot, all probability in front of them, because you did not respect the authority that was there. But those scribes and Pharisees, oh my God, babies, they respected him. This podcast is going to be short, but they respected him. Because when she stood up, she said, Lord, where did all my accusers go? Look, he said, look, I guess they seen themselves. But they knew, babies, look, they know they better not have crossed God. Because these Ark of the Covenants and what God showed his power, what he can do with nature, babies, God destroyed armies with natural catastrophes. And yet, we think that you can fly a drone up over somebody and take him out or push this little button. That little machine you got runs on borrowed energy. Nature's energy. You better think about it. Babies, look at the signs and the seasons. From Martin Luther King, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, from George Floyd. He told you ladies, and y'all keep missing it. You keep giving men all this, you keep giving them all this damn, God, I can't even, you keep giving them respect that they don't have, sweetheart. You are the master and the servant. Without you, there would not be me or her. It's your sons and daughters that was dying in the streets. It was your voice that George Floyd cried out when he said, "Mama." And I think I played back on other instances where they showed that another black man was struck, and they all called out "Mama," and Your sons and daughters don't have to die anymore, baby. God is saying, look, I'm glad you accepted me back in your heart. I hear your cry. But there's certain things that I have to do in order for me to come back. We've got Pharaoh in the office now. I mean, please, I'm not trying to talk about him. I'm trying to talk about your seasons. Pharaoh's in the office. I don't know if that old saying, let it be written, let it be done. He's writing back the law and put into law that now what they use to prosecute people with or go against their rights, the verbal agreements that they broke with the native nations, it has to be undone by their writing. They wrote it. They took the verbal agreements and manipulated it with writing. As I tell my daughters, I said, baby, look, don't let them pencil whip you. And what I meant by that is that, I said, go after what you can achieve. A grade is something you earn. That means you did your due diligence and you studied to go in there. But don't let them pencil whip you with all these other things, breaking down, well, her attendance wasn't there, or whatever merit that they broke down over the years for a person to graduate, to make it, just make it harder. But I'm just saying, you guys are being pencil whipped right now. You've been manipulated and drawn in and taken away from what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? We are supposed to come together. And not, the people are asking, look, every time I hear a talk show, it's like, or these sitcoms, or what the hell, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, I don't care what it is. But you're not giving nobody a solution. And when I was telling my boys out there, I got respect because I respected them. Hey, look, y'all out there hustling, but do you have a mean to an end? I said, but I can show you that at the time it was in transportation. At the time, you can go buy a truck for 14 or 17,000, but you can make just as much as you would if you was pushing a key. Okay, if a key was worth 14 and you sold it by weight, you only going to get a $3,000 profit. But it's the volume that you sold that bought you your wealth. But I'm saying, look, babies, why do you need to look over your shoulder? And because your partner is trying to come up off of you, your actual crack baby is stealing from you. Yeah, you're gonna pay a price. Trust you me. It brings out the ugly in the ugly. But my point was to say, look, babe, I know that it's out there, but it's not being shown to us. All it is us is that go get a job. We build more churches than we do financial institutions. How can you have a voice to sit across the Congress to go in and stand before the panel and talk about what you're doing for the community? See, I was trying to ask. I said, well, who can get called to a congressional hearing? Because I've seen Facebook. I'm just going off the old names. Facebook, Google, companies being brought to them, but we don't have a company that we built like Google and Facebook. But we did have a company set up like Black Wall Street. Okay? They built a community of compounded interest within themselves. See, they weren't taken with it. And see, this is what I feel that Martin Luther King was looking at. He said, damn, we fought wars and 1776 for freedom, and yet the state stops us from voting when we were supposed to have rights. With you women, you didn't get your rights until basically 1965. That's another topic. But um, I want to make this short and make sure I'm staying on point. But Martin Luther King seen what happened to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it was like the federal laws didn't even protect him from the state laws. Yet, we have two separate ballots that we vote on. And somehow we need to get in there and change these state levels, okay? Because it's the state level that is breaking us up even more. The federal level is just greasing palms and holding jobs that they're not even doing, to be honest with you. That's my opinion, okay? That's my opinion. So here we go. We got Martin Luther King say, listen, I tell my son, baby, look, you need to vote. No matter what. Don't look at what I do. Don't go in there. You don't understand. I'm looking for the season. I'm waiting. Okay? I'm not here to waste my time. Look, just as, oh, yeah, I voted. Yeah, what the hell you vote for? Okay? Don't get me started. What are you voting for? Every time I hear somebody talking about, who did you vote for? What in the hell did you vote for? That you made it different. Oh, you did Bill Clinton? Oh, the crime bill that everybody wanted, but he insisted on promoting building a police force of a force that we already told them that they're up against us. They were never built for us. But all this money all this great bill, we wanted you to slow down the crime that was happening in there. I'm 61. I've watched it. I watched how cocaine turned to crack, heroin that was bought in our streets, all these different drugs that started just flooding neighborhoods, only because you thought it was going to eliminate us, but we kept evolving. I don't know if we got stronger, stupid strong, but we kept evolving. Nothing. It wasn't. We kept so much evolving, it started destroying your neighborhoods. But let me not go too far on it. But what I'm trying to say, sweetheart, we build churches that keep us from growing. Churches thrive on individual prosperity. We got churches, we got leaders that basically prosper off a trademark that's already there. They prosper off God's word. God turned over tables because he said, all you do, you sell stuff, you do all, that's not me. I'm not judging anybody, but that's what's in the word. I take it to where you want to. And if you don't, it doesn't matter because that's respect. Okay? But everybody keep asking, do you have a plan? Oh yeah, I got a plan. Every column, do you have a plan? You got so much to say about somebody not voting, but damn it, do you have a plan? A plan that's laid out for you that Tulsa, Oklahoma showed you. Martin Luther King let you understand that now we can come together without posters coming through your door. In a more facile way, without a quote unquote, what do you call that thing on paper? I got a, whatever that paper, y'all know what that paper is, that tells you that hey, we can come and search your house, whatever. Look, I'm not even trying to go, but you know what the heck I'm talking about. But now that we can come together and build without it being burnt down, like in Tulsa in 1921, babies, there's many neighborhoods that's been captured under eminent domain and through the government. But this one was destroyed by a riot. Our town burnt, bombs dropped on. I mean, there's another one. I mean, look, either way it go, I'm trying to tell you, Martin Luther King was not a fool. He's like, damn it, we fought for our freedom, but we really can't vote because we got people blocking us, spitting on us, doing all kind of stuff, deterring us from changing these state laws that violate our rights. And then yet, we're voting And once we got it, let's say there's been 19 Republicans and 19 Republicans and 16 Democrats. What have they done? And if you did make a law that was supposed to help, like the crime bill, you didn't manage it. And then the people who voted for it, you didn't manage it. And the reason why I say that, because I had a little youth. They all call me Uncle Essex. And I'm old school. I'm not old, but I'm old. Okay? Not only do I demand respect, I gain respect. Okay? So the thing is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, I used to have these kids come over because it was my daughters. I'm like, shoot, I'm not going to have my daughters running the street. My beautiful babies? Oh, heck no. I can manage them, while I'm doing things. So I would bring all these kids. I had 30 kids, 30, maybe 30, 40 kids at my house. But it wasn't like you thought it was. I said, look at baby, this is different. I'll come up under your chin. Bottom line. Okay? I'm telling you that I used to ask them, just like you guys, well, did you vote? And y'all so stupid. Hey, anybody in here on probation? Oh, yeah, me, Uncle. Then you know what? You have lost your privilege. I want you home at 8 o'clock. Just like your curfew done. That's what I want you to do. I want you guys to stop doing stupid stuff. Okay? And what I meant by stupid stuff, I mean, I used to be driving around and I'm looking at my babies. I'm looking at them passing me by and I'm going, wait a minute. They're passing me by in a stolen car. I flip around, looking at them like, dude, what are you doing? I'm pulling spark plug wires out of the car and say, look, you guys are reckless. You're misusing your freedom. You're misusing your freedom. Why aren't you going and having fun than jeopardizing and stealing somebody else's property? That's not fun. That's what you've been mentally taught. It's not fun, babies. See, if you're doing right, God can protect you. You understand? And not saying that you're going to be persecuted, but I refer you to be doing something right and get persecuted than knowing you did something wrong and then just trying to say, well, I don't know why they pulled me out of the car and beat my butt. Well, fool, you're in a stolen car. And, okay, yeah, you might not been deserved to got shot and tased a couple times or beat with 100 billy clubs, but you set yourself in that den. You set yourself up to happen like that. But with my kids, and this is how that crime bill was supposed to be managed. We should have been building organizations. Our probation officers should have been the ones to try to keep them on probation, but to keep them off of probation. One of the teachers asked me when I would go in and my kids, and these kids are 14, 15, 16, they're supposed to not be able to be turned around. They asked me, am I the probation officer? I'm like, no, I'm just somebody who loves them and care for them. They're my babies. And if I tell them I want them at school or I want them at home, I'm going to check and manage them. It's not that I don't trust them. I'm just saving them from themselves. So if you told me, Uncle, can we go to the movies? I'm like, yeah, go to the movies. You better be there. Not because you called and said, Uncle, I made it to the movies. I'm already sitting out there. See, if I let them, let me tell you this. I was blessed because I was running my own company at the time. I had just stopped working for a bigger company that LDS and Landstar was bought out. So I started venturing out on my own and building my own transportation company. I won't go in there, but so that left me open. So if I told them that they can go into a party, that means I know I can go in and manage it. Not that I didn't trust them. I just had to protect them from themselves. I wanted to come home. I didn't want to hear that knock on the door and told my baby was missing because either they was taken out at a party, or some man has kidnapped my baby, or some young man has taken advantage of my baby. This is what I was protecting them from, themselves, and this is what we don't have in our laws. Okay, this is what we don't have because the laws was never built. That you guys are voting for was never built for equality. Bottom line, never. Go back and go and search on your treaties. So that's what I keep saying. And when I use the term, in the beginning, it wasn't like this. In the beginning, what you're classifying as refugees, illegal aliens, whatever thing you want to separate anybody on, money, rich, poor, they don't need to be in my neighborhood because they're poor. We don't want no equal housing because, we've left from that. Come on, babies, I'm trying to tell you this. I paid for myself to be on a tangent on this one. If you can't put the pieces together, I don't know what to tell you. But you make sense of it, of what I'm saying. Look at the seasons, because God can take that boat, that ship, that charger, that vessel, and the water can lift that baby. It can lift and carry that vessel and put it on dry land. And you not understanding, my beautiful queens, my kings of kings, that I spell with Quing, the maker of me and my babies. You are the one who create a man and a woman. Oh my God. And you can't even see the signs and the seasons, and you are still going after a man's law and not your God's law, your husband, the one you basically kicked out and invited another king to sit on there to protect you and watch over your kids while you were your little lion clubs was able to play, and all that man had to do was sit down, feed his belly, you bring him food. But you know, if he didn't do his job, you would whoop his butt, or you're going to replace him. That king knew that. That lion knows his role. All we have, what your man do? All we got is a voice, and then you complain about it. The lion said, look, as long as you do your job, you keep that man that's going to misuse us, we gonna let you sit on there. You ain't gotta go nowhere, baby. We got you. That when we take our first kill, we gonna lay him before you. You gonna get all the main parts. You're gonna be able to eat all the vital organs that gives you the energy to sit there and roar like a lion. And them girls over there looking at him, look at him with his fine tail. He ain't doing nothing, but it's okay. Shoot. As long as my kids are going over there and I don't have to put him in check, he can roar, have a voice, walk around. He's walking around strutting himself. That's okay. Because if he, like I said, if he didn't do that job, y'all gonna replace him, or you gonna whoop his butt. The lioness can kill a lion. They can kill a lion. They can attack his tail. So who is the real master, guys? I don't want to go on a tangent, but I like I said, I can do this. This is my page. When I can't sleep and things trouble my heart, and the reality is yes or no, I can do that. I love you guys. Love. Do I have a plan? Yes, I got a plan. I got a 100-day plan, just like Trump. I got a strategy. I can solve this, and not in 10 years. We can solve it tomorrow if you all come together. We got 800 billion people in this world. All I'm asking for is a billion. I love you, babies. Peace out. Look, handle biz, have fun. Stay safe out there, sweethearts. Oh, my babies, please stay safe out there. This was just a podcast. This was just me on a tangent, okay? I'm not cutting, I'm not editing, I'm not doing all that mess. That's not me. You got me, this is me. You don't like it, flip through. Because I'm just talking whether you like it or not, okay? That's all I want to say, though. Not to be, what's it, but that's the way I feel, okay? Subscribe. Try to support the channel any which way you can. I appreciate it.